So if you guys know who I am, I usually make content that is geared towards mythical immortal players, but I recently did a poll, and in this poll, I was shocked to find out that over 50% of my subscribers, closer to 70 actually, are in mythical glory and below. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys the top 15 mistakes that you need to stop making to finally push to that next rank. It doesn't matter if you're epic, legend, mythic, mythic honor, or mythic glory, these tips will push you to the next rank. Also, make sure to check out Loot Bar, link is in the description. I get 10% commission, you get MLBB diamonds at a way cheaper price and bonus diamonds. Check it out. Let's get into it. So for my credentials, I am over 260 stars, I have been global on 3 different heroes, and I also played in the competitive scene known as NACT, and I am currently a top 13 NACT EXP laner. Now, I know how to play every single role well, so pay attention to these general tips and you will improve significantly. The first mistake that I'm noticing way too many people make is that they tunnel vision on kills. You're not winning because you're killing the enemy team, you're winning because you're taking towers, turtles, lords, and farming. If you're chasing someone into Narnia and you get 1 kill but your team loses 2 turrets or 1 turret because you forced a kill, it is not worth it. Remember that the priority in this game is always to push objectives. Objectives classify as enemy jungle creeps, enemy towers. Kills can classify as an objective as long as there is an objective to take after getting the kill. Don't force, it's not worth it to die for a kill either. Always look to get advantage somewhere else on the map. Stop forcing kills. For tip number 2, you gotta stop ignoring waves before objectives. You don't just walk to the Lord or the Turtle, you need to fix and clear side waves first so that the enemy have to choose between contesting or losing towers. Think of it this way. You are playing as the EXP laner, and you have the ability to clear the opposite lane on the map and get to the turtle quickly, or the Lord. Now, if you clear that opposite lane, someone on the enemy team will probably have to go clear it, or they will risk losing turrets or pressure on the map. Now when they go to clear, it will be a 4v5 ideal situation at the turtle contest. So with that in mind, make sure that you're always fixing lanes. Simplest one to do is to always try and control the bush on mid lane and to clear the mid lane minions before doing the Lord, because someone will probably have to go back to clear that and they won't be able to participate in the fight. So overall, stop ignoring waves, make sure that you fix them or you push them before objectives. If you don't, you're going to be the one going to defend during that objective and your team is going to lose that fight. And since I know most of you are solo to trio players, you are going to have a very good time doing this because people will never go to clear that lane and the enemy team will probably most of the time let that lane push. So even if you lose that Lord fight, you will get 1 or 2 turrets for it. The next tip that you really need to fix is your weak map awareness. Checking the map every 20 to 30 seconds just won't cut it. That is not map awareness. You need to aim for every 2 to 3 seconds. I don't care if you're clearing minions, clearing your jungle, you need to constantly look at the map. The amount of information and decision making that you get from simply scanning the map every 2 to 3 seconds is beyond crazy. Even during turtle contests, looking at the map can sometimes signal when someone is trying to flank you because they hopped into your teammate's vision. Having map awareness is absurdly important. Try to train yourself in your next games to simply look at the map every 2 to 3 seconds. Count in your head, be like 1, 2, look at the map, 1, 2, look at the map, and you will realize that with time it will become second nature. This is why you're seeing in my videos and in many other professional scene players' videos or content creators that they are having such a good time and always making correct decisions. It is simply because we constantly scan the map. Maybe I should make an eye tracker video at some point for you guys to see that I'm literally staring at the map for 30% of the game plus. Next, you need to start tracking enemies' battle spells and ultimates. Stop making the mistake of not tracking these. Here is 2 perfect scenarios. The enemy team has 3 enemies with Vengeance, and you are playing an attack speed marksman like Mia or Carrie. Now, if they have Vengeance, you don't really want to go balls deep on their team, do you? Because you know that you're going to die to Vengeance alone, let alone any other skills. So, when they don't have Vengeance, and you know that they don't have Vengeance, which you will know from either tracking the map awareness, checking to see when enemies use skills, or knowing that they didn't use skills because your teammate typed it in the chat, which I recommend that you do as well, you significantly increase your chances of winning a fight. If the enemy mage doesn't have flicker, your assassin jungler will know to go in on them because it's harder for them to escape. Same thing goes with ultimates. If I am playing Alucard or Hayabusa or Fanny or Joy or any hero for that matter, I really don't want to engage if the enemy team's Franco has his ultimate. The second he doesn't though, I don't really have to worry. 90% of the time I can engage, get a kill, and be totally fine. Next up, item building. You need to optimize your items. Stop being blind and autopiloting full damage or random defense items. I can't tell you the amount of times I have seen my random roamer building Athena's shield when the enemy team only has Zushin for magic damage in mid lane, and then they get completely destroyed by the enemy's Hayabusa and they didn't build an anti-curious or a dreadnought armor against them. This doesn't only classify for that specific lane. If you are playing on XP lane, for example, you need to know that sometimes it's more worth it to build warrior boots instead of tough boots because the enemy EXP has a lot of strong physical damage in early. As an example, in this current meta, if you are playing Lapu Lapu on XP and you're playing versus a Yuzong and you never want to die to this Yuzong, build warrior boots and dreadnought as your first two items, then go for your damage. You will be shocked that one of the most oppressive XPs in the game in the form of Yuzong actually cannot do anything against you. So make sure that you're building items properly. If you don't know how to, check out what heroes do. They have high magic damage, build Athena's shield. They have a lot of continuous magic damage like Kimmy or Harley, get a radiant armor. They have a lot of physical skill damage, get anti-curious. They have a lot of physical attack damage in the sense of basic attacks, get blade armor. As long as you know what you're doing, you're going to have a good time. Stop building improperly, start locking in with your itemization, and my god, games will become so much easier for you. The next thing that a lot of people make a mistake with is discipline. Have you ever noticed that you overstay after winning a fight or force too hard and go too deep and then your team gets wiped out? Well, you need to learn the limits. If you're able to get a pick or two sometimes, that is more than enough. Go back, get some pressure on the map going, whether that's through pushing a turret, whether it's through taking mid, whether it's through an objective. You don't always need to force and give the enemy a chance to potentially pick you back off. If you manage to capitalize on their mistake, you don't have to keep going. You can simply chill and go and do other things on the map. If you are playing solo queue, you need to know your limits with your skills, with your HP, and with your basic levels of micro and macro. Learn to have discipline. You are going to have an amazing time. I can't tell you how many people will die for an extra kill for no reason at all when they could have went and taken 2 turrets and an objective in trade, or they could have done so much more somewhere else on the map. Stop making this mistake. Learn to have discipline. And if you really don't know when you should and shouldn't, you can watch my videos. You will see how often I specifically do not force certain kills and I just chill. You will learn a lot from it. Now for tip number 7, in terms of mistakes that you are making that need to be fixed, stop misusing flicker and your dash skills. Your mobility is for escape or instant engage. Stop showing it off and doing random things where you become food. If you are not using it properly, for example with Paquito using skill 2 and flicker, then you are trolling. You need to know how to save your dash skills. If you are playing Farza, don't use your bird for absolutely no reason at all. Use it as an escape tool in team fights or a way to quickly reposition for that free ultimate. Or make sure that when you are playing heroes with a dash skill that are very reliant on it, like Julian for example, to not throw it away for no reason. Because if you know Julian as a hero, the second he doesn't have his second skill, he becomes the easiest target to kill. So with that in mind, stop misusing your dashes. Focus on where you use them, how you use them, and saving them to dodge enemy skills. If you're playing Obsidia, you have so much movement speed with that skill too, it's very easy to dodge a lot of different heroes' combos. Keep this in mind, stop wasting your dash, learn the micro of how to use it effectively. For the 8th mistake, a lot of people play without a purpose. They win their lane, they push, right? Sure, but then what? What do you do after this? Alright, maybe I just go stand near the enemy's jungle. I don't know really what I'm doing. Now I'm just wasting time and losing gold as the enemy's pushing back my lane. I'm doing nothing on the map. You need to know that every rotation has to have a purpose. If you're going to cut the wave and clear as an XP laner, you need to know what you're doing. If you're playing mage and you're clearing and you're rotating, there has to be a purpose behind it. With that in mind, your reason should be securing jungle, helping lane push, preparing for turtle. Stop wandering aimlessly, wasting time, XP, and gold. For tip number 9, stop not respecting enemies' power spikes. Some heroes power spike very early, other power spike later. For example, a Yuzong can completely bully a Moskov up until the 8 to 10 minute mark. But after the 8 to 10 minute mark, there's a very strong chance that that Moskov is actually going to be bullying the Yuzong instead. So learn to respect power spikes, know when you can harass and bully someone and when you can't, and play accordingly. I can't tell you the amount of times that people don't respect your damage when you are the stronger early game lane matchup. As an XP main, if you don't build defense, as I said earlier with the Lapu Lapu Yuzong matchup, if Lapu doesn't respect your damage, you are going to have an amazing time versus him. But when he does, then you're going to have a bad time. Because like I said, you build defense against him, you'll be fine. But you have to respect your enemy's power spikes. MLBB is a team game, and this is why I'm going to get into mistake number 10, which is what I like to call the SHS, or the solo hero syndrome. It is a team game, alright? If you're playing constantly alone and then wondering why you're losing because you're not at certain team fights, your team is useless, whatever, that is probably why you're losing. Remember that it is a team game, and if you have very terrible teammates, sure, you're gonna have to solo carry, but don't forget that there's still a lot of impact that you can have with your teammates. If you have a strong tank, don't ignore him. He can get one set that can completely change the game. If you have a strong mid laner who has good damage and knows how to rotate, don't ignore them. Play around them, have a good time. Remember, you can learn very quickly the level of your teammates within the first 2 minutes based on how they lane, whether they show up at the turtle, and you can learn who to trust. And when you know who you can trust on your team in terms of solo queue, you know that you can play around them and make plays with them. Remember, you're all people who have never played together before, playing for the first time on the same team for the most part. And with that in mind, you need to know that you're not playing alone, you're playing with 4 other people. If you can synergize with anyone, the 2 of you have the ability to carry the whole game. And if you can't, that's a whole separate thing. Now for mistake number 11, learn how to have vision control. A lot of people who have traps such as Selena don't really use them the way they should be used. Vision is a very crucial thing in MLBB, and with that in mind, stop walking into random bushes when you don't have vision. Too many people die this way, too many people get poked out this way, so try to always know where the enemy team is. And the easiest way to do that is to have vision on them. And if you don't have vision, play more slow, don't force anything, don't try to walk into random bushes and die for it. Remember, when you don't have vision control, you need to play way more safely on the map. For tip number 12, stop forgetting to reset your jungle and lanes. Because one thing I'm going to tell you right now is that a lot of people forget to time their rotations as a jungle. You want to be always farming your jungle immediately. So when I say forgetting to reset jungle, it means forgetting to clear it in general. A lot of people prioritize ganking too much and forget to farm. When you're jungling, your rotation should be pretty simple. I don't want to gank or force anything if I have my jungle camps up. At least for the first portion of the game. I want to contest turtles and objectives when my jungle camps are on cooldown and they are not up, because you are maximizing your farm this way. Same thing goes for minion waves. If you're going to rotate, clear your lane first and take the crab on your lane first as a rule of thumb. That way your enemy laner can't really get any resources easily during the time that you are out rotating them. If you're a gold laner, what is the point of going to mid lane to farm if you are going to be leaving the gold crab for the enemy to take? They're going to get like 90 to 100 gold from it. You're going to get like 120 from mid. It's not worth it. So make sure you're taking all the resources before you do any kind of rotations or you force any plays. Because as well, if you are the jungler and you die during that gank, they don't have any jungle to take from you because you cleared it all. What happens if you don't clear it, die, and then they invade you and take your jungle too? Small macro mistakes make a huge impact. Now for mistake number 13, I'm noticing that people have really bad target prioritization. If you keep hitting the tank first, congrats, you're just going to be losing every single fight. Unless if the tank is absurdly overextended and easy to pick off, you have no reason to waste all of your skills on the enemy's frontliner. I see way too many people always attacking a Fredrin when he's in the jungle. Stop. Look past the Fredrin, look at the enemy's backline who he is protecting and frontlining for. The squishies are always the easiest to kill. You get rid of them 90% of the time. These tanks are easy food to pick off. So remember, stop prioritizing the wrong target. Focus the people who need to die first. If you don't know, it's usually the damage dealers. 99% of the time, you want to constantly poke out the damage dealers or kill them. I don't really know many situations where you'd prioritize a tank instead, unless if it's an Akai in jungle and you want to force his ultimate. But I digress. For a rule of thumb, kill the enemy backline, stop targeting the tanks. If anything, tanks want you to target them. Why are you doing that for them then? Another thing that I'm noticing is that people get too tilted. I am a victim of this myself. I get extremely tilted. And what happens is that you start forcing and feeding more and more. Once you start losing, you need to play uber safe. Stop forcing, trying to 1v1 the person who now has an advantage on you and make that gap even larger. Just chill. This also doesn't mean to build 5 defense items against them. I can't tell you how many games I'm seeing like Layla building anti-curious because a Brody killed them once. Like, there's no point for any of this. Stop doing that kind of stuff. Just play safe, play back, and trust in your power spikes. Like I said, maybe you die to a Yuzong once in lane. Build that Dreadnought armor because now you learned your lesson, but you don't have to overdo it and build a huge amount of physical defense. 700 gold is enough spent to stop that Yuzong from snowballing you all game. Get that? And for the final tip, stop taking fights in bad areas. When you are closing yourself off into a small area and the enemy team has a set tank, you are only doing them a favor. And number 2, stop getting poked by the Lord when you are fighting the enemy team at the Lord contest. Stay out of his AoE damage range so that you're not for no reason taking his true damage. If anything, try to put the enemy in a position where they're the ones taking hits from the Lord, because every little bit of true damage that he does to them will eventually help you to potentially pick them off. So again, stop helping your enemy if they have huge amounts of CC. Stay spread out. It's a basic rule of thumb. If they don't have a lot of CC and they have pick off, stay grouped together because it's going to be harder for them to pick you off. If you are playing solo queue, respect both of these things and play accordingly. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We just gave you 15 different tips a lot of people are making a lot of mistakes with, and I'm also telling you how to improve them. So if you like this kind of general content, leave a like and subscribe down below, and let me know if you want to see more content like this from me in the future. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one.